Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're breaking down the actual structural flaws behind modern side hustles, and we're going to chart a validated, data-backed path right out of the gig economy. If you're out there grinding away, trading hours for low pay, and desperately trying to find a way to make your money actually work for you, you are in the exact right place. Let's get right into it.
I want you to really think about this for a second. If you're currently stuck trading your time for pennies in the gig economy, the absolute last thing you need is a second minimum wage job cleverly disguised as a passive side hustle. We see this all the time online, right? Promises of easy money that actually demand constant, exhausting upkeep. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the passive income illusion, why most side hustles fail, the hidden tax trap, generic versus niche products, escaping the gig economy, and finally, building scalable evergreen assets.
Section 1. The passive income illusion. Deconstructing the myth of earning in your sleep.
We absolutely have to start by busting some of these super alluring myths about effortless online income. Look, AI and automation tools are incredible force multipliers for sure, but they are not magic bullets. A 2-year tracker of side hustles on Reddit put it perfectly. AI just lowers the barrier to entry so you can build something over a weekend instead of taking months. But true passivity? That still entirely depends on building something that is fundamentally useful.
And that brings us to what we call the viability gap. This is the brutal reality that a disproportionate amount of upfront sweat equity is required before anything sustains itself. Take YouTube automation or AI service agencies, for example. These models fundamentally violate the core principle of passive revenue. Why? Because they're just disguised active labor. You're dealing with client onboarding, constant tech support, and this massive vulnerability to sudden platform algorithm updates that can literally wipe out your automated output overnight.
Section 2. Why most side hustles fail. The brutal truth of the 60-day experiment.
Let's look at some hard data from a comprehensive 60-day analysis, because the structural flaws in these heavily marketed hustles are staggering. Take a look at dropshipping. You're looking at a $2,400 initial cost, plus over 200 hours of monthly maintenance, only to yield a catastrophic net loss. Now, contrast that with digital courses or simply investing in the S&P 500. These have remarkably low ongoing maintenance and actually achieve what we define as genuine financial success.
The crucial takeaway here is that true passive income relies on algorithmic alignment and evergreen assets. If your income stops the literal second you stop actively working, or if you have to constantly run on this exhausting marketing treadmill just to get views, well, you haven't built an asset. You've just built yourself another stressful job.
Section 3. The hidden tax trap. The financial danger of IRS Form 8582. Okay, if the burnout doesn't get you, the regulatory reality of our tax system just might. Let's talk about the IRS definition of a passive activity loss, or PAL. According to the IRS, if you aren't materially participating in a business on a regular, continuous, and substantial basis, it's legally classified as a passive activity.
And here is where this becomes terrifying for the average gig worker. It's the tax trap embedded right in IRS Form 8582. Say you blow thousands of dollars on a failed set-it-and-forget-it YouTube automation channel. Those losses are generally restricted. You typically cannot just write those passive losses off against your regular W-2 salary income. So the financial risk of a failed passive experiment is often way higher than the nominal dollar amount you initially spent. It's a double whammy.
Section 4. Generic versus niche products. The fundamental shift in problem solving.
So how do you actually step out of this trap? You have to pivot away from high-volume saturated markets. Prioritizing hyper-specific, targeted problem solving creates significantly higher long-term value. One Reddit experimenter noted that creating generic daily planners meant competing against 50,000 other listings. You'd need constant ad spend just to stand out. But when they created a symptom tracker specifically for Hashimoto's disease or an IBS meal planner, they were competing against maybe 3 listings. They solved an urgent, underserved need.
This real-world perspective proves a massive point. When someone with an underserved need searches a platform like Etsy and finds a product specifically made for their exact condition, they buy it immediately. Why? Because nothing else existed. Combining low creation time with an underserved audience on a platform that already has built-in traffic is honestly the closest thing to actual digital passivity you can achieve.
Section 5. Escaping the gig economy. The 3-stage transition framework.
Let's walk through a literal escape route used by top professional creators like Ali Abdaal. This step-by-step framework shows exactly how to graduate from high-effort, active work. Stage 1 is the sweat equity phase. You're doing active work to build an audience, trust, or a highly specific skill. Stage 2 is converting that audience into a semi-passive digital product, where the marginal cost of selling to one more person is practically zero. And Stage 3, you reinvest those product profits into purely passive financial assets.
Section 6. Building scalable evergreen assets. What a mature ecosystem looks like. When you successfully navigate that viability gap, you create this incredible compounding ecosystem. Take a look at creator Joshua Mayo's 2022 revenue breakdown. A single evergreen content engine acts as a customer acquisition tool. It drives diversified, high-margin revenue streams like AdSense, affiliate marketing, and sponsorships entirely on its own. It just sits there, utilizing the long tail of search traffic.
Ultimately, your digital assets should fund your base layer of diversified financial portfolios. Looking at the 2025 to 2026 market, we're seeing a transition towards a value rotation. This means taking your digital product profits and putting them into high dividend yield ETFs for stable cash flow, index funds like the S&P 500 for compound growth, or exploring REITs for real estate exposure without the headache of landlord maintenance. This is the only truly passive income stream available from day one, requiring zero operational overhead.
So the next time you're tempted by an effortless income claim, or if you're feeling stuck grinding it out in the gig economy, I want you to ask yourself this: will you build another job, or will you build an asset? Remember, true freedom isn't some 60-day hack. It requires building an evergreen moat that solves real problems. Start small, get incredibly specific, and build your escape route. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.